Yeah,
multiple
sure
over the
spending some
country.
money.
So
We looked at theirs at work.
It's a nice area.
it is. It's a very nice ward. And this little family right here just never had grass or anything. You can see they've just had this little spot. And this weekend, all their pennies have been saved up and they started to do this. And there is, their contractors dumped dirt, piles all along the road. I'm like, dude, you better hope that somebody doesn't drive by and cite you.
You good?
How you be? Good.
How are you, Mike?
Okay, it's showtime and we have us, all of us. We be here, so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here, council. It's always a joy to serve with you, and as I get a chance to interact with a lot of different cities, it's great to be in Lindon. And not that other cities aren't great, but a little biased on my side, but it is great. All the way up and down, from citizens to city employees to council and where we live, so it's all good. It's all good. We're done. Let's go.
Need a motion? Thank you,
Second.
everyone.
I'll do that.
Okay, Jake, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And I'm gonna ask, no, I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance after you give us a prayer, okay?
Our dear kind of gracious Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity we have to gather together as leadership of this wonderful city. We're thankful for all those who call Lindon home. We're thankful for those who work here, for the great work that they do. We are especially mindful and grateful for our first responders. We ask a special blessing upon them, that they'll be protected as they protect us. We're thankful for this time of year. We ask a blessing that our water situation will continue to improve. We're thankful for the little water that we have received and the water that's on the forecast. We're thankful for the opportunity to gather together. We ask that thy Spirit be here tonight with us, that we will follow it and let it lead and guide us. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Audience, please arise if you'll follow us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's do a roll call, and Randy, if you want to start us off, please.
Randy Pell, present.
Van Broderick, present.
Mike Vincherry, present.
Jeff Acerson, present.
Jake Hoyt, present.
Carolyn Lundberg, present.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of September 20th, 2021. If there are corrections, or
I have nothing.
we good?
Look through them.
There were, just in the council member reports in their mind, there were just a particular line had some typos, and I don't need to tell you what to do with it. If you just looked at it, you'd know what to do. Okay, very good. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Randy. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Council reports. Carolyn, you want to start us off,
Sure,
please?
would love to, Mayor. Thank you. Really quickly, the Lindon City Education grants to our local schools have been distributed, those invitations out to the different schools, and they are due back by October 29th. So last year we had a lot of tremendous grant projects requested, and thank you to council for increasing that little bit, that will be able to do some good with our local youth in the community and their education. Randy is going to be reviewing some of those, and any other council members are likewise invited to read those grants when they come in at the end of October and review them and discuss how, dispersal. So you're all welcome to read those. And then also we had the goodbye for Jen Wakeland. She's been tremendous in our police department, just such incredible energy and great culture and rapport with our team there and all the guys. So
How goes finding her replacement? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Good. Starts 18th.
Okay. Fantastic. Are you able to tell us who it is yet? Or you're still working that out?
Submitted her 2 weeks. Her name's Alicia Adams.
Alicia Adams, great. So glad she has big shoes to fill. Jen.
Comes with a lot of good history, should hit the ground running.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and then just attended the Utah League of Cities and Towns. I saw Mayor there and former Mayor Ellertson, and lots of really good information on kind of the water issues that are coming statewide and some of those reports and growth. Always really great training and collaboration there with other sister cities and servants in the community. So came to find out we have one particular individual who works for Central Utah Water District right here in Lindon, and I think our Juan is working hard to really be on top of the different techniques and things that we can do. And I've had a couple members of the community mention that they would love to see maybe more education citywide, just speaking to, access to the different materials that the Central Water District has in regards to plants that could be potentially changed in yards or looking to do less grass. It was interesting to note that according to one of the water growth charts showing population versus the overall water supply, they anticipate there could continue to be more droughts down the road, and with our growth we'll have to. They showed a chart that was very promising from 2002 to now. The average use of water by folks has been reducing, so if we continue that trend, we could hopefully supply enough water into the future with our growth. So that's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you. Jake?
Couple quick things. Last meeting, we talked about the weeds and council reports, and I heard from a couple of citizens that those had been pushed back. So I don't know if staff went out, Public Works, whoever it was.
The ones on 1700 West.
Had
Is that
few different departments that are working on that. I know
Yeah.
the
Well-
chief talked to Walmart and Parks. You guys have looked at a few spots, and so we're trying to hit some of those things.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the follow-up. Had some happy citizens that those had been pushed back. Couple items from Parks and Rec. The slide is installed and beautiful. If you guys haven't seen it, go take a look. We've nominated Mike to be the council member to take it down the maiden voyage. Congratulations.
Head first.
Excuse me?
Uh,
I thought you said Mike.
Council member Mike.
Heath, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like April, next spring is when we'll be ready to roll, have it fully plumbed and,
That's correct. They'll come out and they'll do some testing. They suggested that we let it sit over the winter, see if it shifts or moves, because they wanna make sure there's no lip on it, and they'll put, cotton cloth on it, make sure there's no, danger or something to people. So it'll be ready and plumbed this summer, but it won't be certified till spring.
awesome. Halloween trunk or treat, October 29th in the community center parking lot. I believe there's a couple council members that have signed up. Are there any more that would like to participate in that?
I'd love to. I'm gonna be in St. Thomas.
Okay, band?
wow.
I'm toying with it.
If you want to, let Heath know as soon as possible. Randy,
Mine's iffy right now, so I'll know more next week.
get with Heath if that's something you want to do.
Is candy an issue? Do we need candy? We can,
Take care of it.
okay, we can donate candy, but you
Yeah, donate
can't be
candy.
there. Okay. Okay.
Because it costs money.
Taffy.
What's your anticipated number that candy needs to be?
We're asking for everybody to bring 1,000 pieces.
Okay.
Great, it's exciting.
Coordinate that maybe for those that are coming.
Last but not least, we're working on our 100-year celebration committee and would encourage all to make suggestions on what would be special for that 2024 celebration. So keep that in mind as a council. Randy, I know that's really important to you, but really important to all of us. Let's keep that in mind as we start moving toward that. I mean, here we are in the last quarter of 2021, so that's all I had.
Okay, Mike?
Thank you. I had made a comment last week and fully intended to get this done, but I will make it a point this week to visit with Tim Clyde and find out what his status is on that landscape improvements along Fourth. We're good friends.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Oh, I thought you'd like.
I play ball with him, I
I'll
used to
step
play
into the
ball with
buzz.
him all the time.
Yep.
No, he'll tell you one way or the other, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I will complete that assignment, thank you. Mike Florence and I went to, Mike was at EDC up in Salt Lake at the Smith Ballpark. I will freely admit, there was not a lot of content.
It was a party.
The hot dogs were good.
Yeah.
And the burgers, and I was able to renew some friendships and acquaintances, folks I haven't seen for a while, and that was kind of fun. And then, of course, pick Mike's brain, which ended up being a very short meeting, of course, but no, just teasing. Had a wonderful time, and I think it was good that we made a visit there, that we made an appearance. So they've got some big plans. They have a new, Tom Morgan from Zions Bank was the chair of that group, and he is now the treasurer, as I recall. And then some gentleman that I don't know is now the,
Steve Starks.
Steve Starks, yeah.
Yeah, he's over the Larry H. Miller Group,
That's right, I remember
who
that
just
now.
sold their car dealerships.
Oh, did they?
The brother of Tony, right? Iron Man, Tony Starks. So,
Good guy.
missed that one.
We had a lot of conversations about jazz and what they're gonna do, so.
Well, I didn't mean to forget the mayor. The mayor was there also. So, yes.
And we got honored. Not Lindon, but UTA.
Yeah, UTA did, yes. So it was definitely worth the price of admission, that's for sure, So that was quite a report. This morning, we had a development review committee meeting with Mike and with the two engineers. And I don't know how much I can or need to say. Is this common knowledge, what's going? Oh, sorry. Yeah, we were talking about the Beans and Brew and the
Car wash.
the car wash and the Soda Delicious or whatever it's called, I'm not sure. We have a sort of a unique challenge as far as them wanting to orient the building a certain way, and our code doesn't allow for that. And I know Mike is looking for some options or solutions that we may see at some future time, but wonderful to have good retail in the city. It's going to be, they're really going to make that spot nice. So we had a board meeting for our North Point Solid Waste Special Services District. Things are going extremely well. We have awarded the bid for the master plan. And that'll probably take about 90 to 120 days, and then we can start doing some serious planning and so forth. So I think other than that, it's been a great week, or a great couple of weeks, so thank you.
Good. Okay, Van?
On September 22nd, I attended the Provo Bench Canal and Irrigation Company meeting. The assessments were set this year. It's set at 130. Hopefully Juan passed some of that information on to you, Adam, to just know that that's what the fee is going to be, as we are.
Which company?
That's Provo Bench Canal
Okay.
and Irrigation Company. As water becomes a topic that I talk about frequently and lots of meetings going on now, part of the discussion that goes in these board meetings is the discussion of laterals and who's going to take care of them. And all of the bylaws say that everybody on the lateral has to take care of them. But it's interesting how the discussion will flow where they'll say, let's just all be one big system where everybody helps pay for what everybody needs. And then we remind them that North Union is technically a lateral of the Provo Bench, and we pay for all of our own stuff. And if they want to start helping to participate in those fees, they'd be welcome to. And that seems to end the discussion
Close very quickly, yeah.
pretty quickly when they talk about some of the numbers that we do. But then I think Adam's mentioned it in an email. We'll be attending that October 28th meeting in Price.
I haven't sent that to the rest of
Oh.
the group, so yeah, share that.
Seen
I
something on that,
I
so.
don't think
I thought it was an email.
it was an email, but I don't think I copied everybody on
Yeah, I
that.
haven't seen
I was
anything.
on it, so I mean, I've
Okay.
seen that.
October 28th in Price, there will be an update, a decision hopefully made on the grant regarding the funds for possibility of metering.
My impression is that we probably thought it was more of a sure thing than
And it's
maybe
turning
it,
out.
maybe it is based on the number of applicants and.
Why price?
That was the separate ARPA funds. So this one with the state, we feel really good about. So the ARPA funds, that was the federal money, that then the state took a chunk of their money and put out 50 million, and they had billions in requests.
Remember that.
This other grant that we're attending, it's the Division of Water Resources Board, and they're meeting in different spots around the state at different times. This one's in Price, and they asked us to be there in person for, I'm guessing it's a 5 or 10 minute presentation. So we asked Van, with him being associated with all these different canal companies, to be there with us, and
So we're
see
going,
what
we're
happens.
hopeful, but we'll wait and see at that particular event to see what they do, and then the decisions that we make afterwards as a council. And then hopefully you all got the text, the notification, email, secondary water being shut off, and I think that's a really good thing. Keep in mind, any water we don't run down the canal this year, we hope stays in our bank, and that's what they call it. You bank it at Deer Creek, and we will use it next year for certain. Pray for rain, Jake. You did a good job on your prayer there.
Yeah, I could. May I ask one question? I forgot, I should have mentioned this earlier. Remember when the church came in and was giving us the kind of a rundown on the temple site, the landscaping and so forth? And the gentleman from the water group was sitting right over here and made it perfectly abundant that they had no plans to clean that up or cut it down or make it look nicer. And yet, we're walking the trails and we're seeing, I think I might know the answer to this, but there are a lot of places along the trail where someone has gone in and mowed down the weeds and cut out some of the trees and, the little Chinese elms and the little saplings and stuff. So I'm wondering, that's probably private individuals maybe doing that, or?
I would say no chance. It's probably gonna be hired water masters and people that we hire to do that. There's an operation and maintenance and repairs budget every year to do this. We would be pleased if somebody was cutting their own
Yeah,
stuff down.
it's the city's responsibility, and we have the right to go in and do whatever we want to do as far as cleaning up the weeds. That's my understanding.
Well, there's just a jumble of,
it is the city's responsibility, but we would have to have a plan and get
Right,
that
what I'm
approved.
saying
It's not
is,
necessarily, if something needs to happen, it's the city can do it.
Right.
They haven't asked us to do it, or they required us to do it, and there are some residents who have called me and asked me if they could do it. Especially at the entry of 200 South, right off the group there, there was a lady that would lead that and did the very best job she could. So there was some people who do it. We have not. We haven't done any maintenance along there.
yeah, as far as Center Street to 200 South, we don't need to worry too much about that. I mean, we can, but eventually we'll work out some agreement with the church and the canal company. It's moved from where it was, as far as to, there is open discussion now.
that's good, that would be great.
And, the church, in fact, I was gonna give a little report on that. They're gonna put a retaining wall up, and they'll have their wrought iron fence so you can see through it. That's the plan right now. It could change. From the trail, you can look and it won't be, so you can't see in. And they're discussing what kind of vegetation they can put in that. And I mentioned to you, Adam, the possibility that the city would cooperatively work and mow it or whatever we need to do. We'll at least have that discussion. And the church will be a participant in that. So it's moving in a better direction.
Good.
So that's the hope.
I mean, if there's a cost involved, we could even mount a volunteer campaign to at least clean it up.
Yeah.
And, there's different ways to do it, so thank you, Van.
So that's still an open thing, so.
Okay, thank you.
And just one last thing, we did meet with another metal roofing company, came over to walk through to get another quote on removing and replacing this. We'll see what it is. The estimator's out of town for a little bit, and we're not in a big rush anyway, so we'll see how that goes.
Saw nothing
And
today.
appreciate Alex helping out, and good guy, glad we have him.
Yes. Thank you.
That's it.
It wasn't on my list, but I was just thinking about the roof. Has anyone been along and seen the old Village Inn restaurant in Orem on University Avenue? It used to be was it an orange roof? They've now painted it really pretty black, and I just wondered if reaching out, not that I'm for painting, but just wondering if there's any way to find out what they anticipate painting their metal roof would.
Well, we talked about the possibility of painting this. There's a Kynar finish is what it's called.
Okay.
That's what you want on it. This roof does not have that on it.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason why
It wouldn't accept it.
failed. The people that we brought out here knew exactly what was up here, knew exactly what was going wrong.
And what will and will not work, right?
Yeah.
And
And-
replacing it looks like where we're headed towards if we do that.
Is the best solution.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and to kind of go along with some of these other things that have been brought up, thank you, Carolyn, for making sure that Shelley reached out to me. I appreciate being able to work on the education grants. It was something I always liked doing in the past, so to be included in that will be a fun thing once those applications come in. It's at the 29th, so I look forward to that. And then to Jake's point about the weeds, that was on my list. Good to hear some updates. I'd also like to, I know I didn't get anything over to you as far as specifics, but I know in the last meeting I did mention to Amy Johnson and her group about all the ones in front of the Norton property, and not one thing has budged on that. So I know it's not our staff that's not done anything. I just, maybe we can reach out. She knows how I feel, but I don't know when they're planning on doing it, but it's certainly an eyesore all along there. So thank you, Michael. Let's see. I'm good at that one. Heath and I have been working on the Christmas lights. Again, thank you, everybody, for all your support in this. After I talk about the roof, though, it's been kind of decided that we can't do anything on the city center and have it be advantageous with the money, because we're going to be taking things off next year, and our hope was to put something on that would last several years, and so we have to wait till the gutter's off before we can place those assets that you've trusted us with here. So I remember in one of the council meetings, there was a discussion and a request perhaps of doing something in the city park. If I remember, Van kind of brought that up, maybe something spectacular down there. And so, and Heath and I went on a field trip and walked the property recently, and we've come up with some fun plans to think that we'll do a kickoff there. Was it the first, what was the date, what we were thinking of, Heath? Right after Thanksgiving, right? It's a short year this year in some ways if we wait for the traditional Lindon, the historical date kickoff to turn on the lights. And there's been some discussion between the Historical Commission and Heath and myself that, are we going to supersede one or the other? My feeling is, and I hope the council will agree and the mayor, that there's nothing to say that we can't have two different lighting ceremonies. The one that the Historical Commission has always been is the lighting of the tree. And I think if we can make sure that the community center stays with the Historical Commission, but we can do this other so that there's opportunity for other citizens to go to other events as well. Not everybody can go on that first night. Is that something that would be agreeable with you, Mayor?
We do a Groundhog Day, and we just keep lighting them. It's all
That's
good.
Yeah.
If we get people that want to come in groups,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, my feeling is there's lots of opportunities. We don't have to do it on just one night.
it's a celebratory season, so if there are ways to
Yeah.
fit more events in, that'd be great.
That's what Heath and I were feeling really good about, is just going forward and having multiple lighting ceremonies. One, not to be, no competition between each other, just a lot of collaboration is what we're feeling, so, for that. So we're looking for a date on that, and we're not sure how big of an event will be. Our theme is the night before, or not night before Christmas. It's the night before Christmas. I almost said the nightmare before Christmas. The night before Christmas, we've got a wonderful set of panels that we've acquired. Is it 16, I think, 13?
I think there's 14.
14 beautiful, large panels that are, they're huge. I don't know, probably the size of that television, right, Heath?
Yeah.
If not bigger, some of them. Will display as with a walking path, and there's going to be some fun things that we hope that you're pleased with our efforts on that to showcase the city. So, and then the Historical Commission will go ahead with their typical one that will be, I think, on the 7th. It's the first Monday, the 6th, the first Monday night. And if Mary, if you could put that on your calendar, they'd love to. I'm sure that Lyle will reach out to you, but.
Just make sure it's either really, really cold or pleasant.
Okay, I will put the request in for that. How's that?
Really cold that night.
Before you leave, Christmas
Yes.
lights, Heath, I don't know if you've had discussion with those people that would possibly do the lights here. See if there's wiring requirements or things, if we have the roof off, that they would like to see done.
I did, I reached out to two of those companies, and one of those guys is gonna meet with me, I can't remember, it's the end of this week. And we'll talk about what will be easier for them when the roof is off to do. So we're on thinking the same.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and that was the main reason why we couldn't do a lighting here on the campus, but we still wanted to be the beginning of a showcase of Lindon and our celebration of the holiday. Then also, kind of while at the community center, I just want to say I'm having so much fun working with Jamie down at the senior center. It's not that it's one of my responsibilities, but I've kind of shoehorned myself into having fun with the senior class, doing what is called a drum fitness class. And we are having so much fun there. It's Thursday, typically at 11:15. It's only a half hour. And, you know, I'm encouraged, we just have a lot of fun there. I've taught there in the past, senior chair fitness. And, but this is a drum fitness, and just picture a big exercise ball, like those big yoga balls or whatever, and drumsticks. It's just like you see the kids at the elementary schools with their 5-gallon drums and their drumsticks. This is seniors with balls, and it is so much fun at our, to have. So a public shout out for letting me insert myself into your programs over there, Heath. And then also I've had a little bit of conversation with Adam and the mayor regarding our potential new hires. I know we have not followed up, but I just want to assure the council that we've got our staff is working really hard to do what we can to fill these positions and at the same time, save as much money as possible in doing this. And I just really appreciate your efforts and everything you're doing. I know you're working so hard and trying to make sure our city runs as perfectly as possible. And so just kudos to Adam, to you and your staff for everything you're doing on that. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Adam?
Just that Van mentioned that we just got word from the Provo River Commissioner that they're gonna turn off the water at the end of this week. And so we are gonna actually, with the cold weather that was predicted here for the following week, we're gonna try to get ahead of that. We'll stop taking water on Wednesday, and then it usually takes about 2 to 3 days for it to all be drained. So people should have some level of pressure through the end of this week. And then we'll hope to have it all drained and winterized before it was forecast to be down into the 20s on a couple nights next week. So, and then just a reminder, October 14th, Thursday, it's a Thursday night here in this room. We'll have the Meet the Candidates night. And thanks for your help for several of you on those questions. And then just a FYI on a couple upcoming issues that we'll be talking about, the massage establishments ordinance. I know Brian's got a draft and we've advertised for that soon, right?
We went to the planning commission last week. We got a couple recommendations from them that we're gonna go back and do some tweaks on it. We'll take it back to them in a couple weeks, and then we'll have it ready to come to you.
Okay.
So.
And then there was a request to discuss and review some utility rates and how those are billed, and so we'll plan to discuss that at our next meeting. And then have in November some department reports from our departments and just give you an update on some of the things they're working on. So that's all I have.
Okay. All right, let's open it up, public comment. Anyone want to address the council on any item that's not on the agenda? Okay, well, we'll move on. There is one consent agenda item, utility crossing agreement with Metropolitan Water District of Salt Lake and Sandy. So we just need to make a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
I will make a motion.
Thank you, Randy.
For the consent agenda as is outlined in our staff report.
Is there a second? Any discussion? I will call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That was unanimous. Now we get to jump into a public hearing. Someone want to open that up, please?
I'll motion for to open a public hearing, Mayor.
Second.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Jake. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are now in a public hearing. We have
All right.
very few public people here, but we're here. Go ahead, Kristen. Thank
So
you.
we're doing a budget amendment. And the information was included in the packet. Heath pointed out that I didn't put my note in for number 9, which is $11,725 for community center professional and technical services, and that's for asphalting the parking lot. So we just try and go through this process at least once a quarter to update our budget with any things that change. So,
Any curveballs that we didn't see or,
Yeah.
change-ups?
Why was the acoustic fencing so much more expensive in Hollow Park versus Creekside? Are there
there's
more?
more of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any other
Other
questions?
questions?
I was excited to see that, and I hope it does everything that
Oh,
all
so
of the
do I.
close-by neighbors hope it does as well.
It's a good faith effort from us as a city to provide some sound mediation or mitigation. Really well done, this report. It was really concise and easy to understand.
Easy to
Appreciate that.
understand, that's the key. Yeah. Although it was nice to get that comment, that email from the neighbor thinking.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
You may not get any more like that, but it's a good one.
What's the Reader's Digest story behind the truck getting stolen?
The what?
The truck getting stolen.
So at Public Works, we had a vehicle that was stolen, and it was a summer help vehicle, and so it had been parked for a few weeks after our seasonal help had ended. And I think it was Alex went to put a new insurance card in it, an updated insurance card, and we couldn't find the vehicle, and so we were able to find it on video, and they identified the person. They know who it is. It's a local who's caused problems in the past. And so then the police were able to recover that, found the vehicle. Long story short, by the time it was recovered, the insurance had already declared it and as a surplus title or a stolen title, somehow changed it and salvage title, and it was easier for them to just pay us for the vehicle than for us to keep it. So we no longer have the vehicle that was stolen and recovered, but we've been paid for that by the insurance. So
And it was a vehicle that we were probably gonna surplus anyway.
one that had been declared as surplus, and so, yes,
And when we say local, he's not a Lindon resident, so,
yeah,
but it's close by.
it's close.
Okay. Does that answer? Yeah.
Protect the guilty, is that what we've done here?
With,
There's a lot of mounting evidence against the individual, so.
with our sales tax where it is, this being our, a budget amendment heading into the end of this year, but not our fiscal year, our savings account where it is, how are you feeling about our revenues and being able to place those, with our revenues maybe being higher than we anticipated?
Yeah, it is coming in higher. Sales tax is 2 months behind. So September's sales tax was for July's sales. So that's just 1 month of the fiscal year. So I'm not looking to revise the budgeted revenue yet. I usually look at doing that in April.
Yeah.
As a percentage, do you have any idea, just a rough guess? Last year was a banner year.
And this, so far, so good this year too. I don't have a percentage in my head.
No, it's okay. Great. And I guess the new sprinkler control things that you can control from your cell phone, that sounds like that's gonna be a labor saving. They're gonna have to call someone out to do the work, so that sounds like a good idea, good plan.
And then our general fund's at 29%, and they increased that we can go up to 35% now.
Correct.
Okay, great. favor of all this.
And as those revenues come in, and if they do continue to be really above projections, they just automatic, where do you house them exactly?
So it can build in the fund balance up to the 35%. I don't want to get too close to that, just because things tend to happen at the end of the year, and expenditures don't happen, or more revenue comes in than anticipated, and so we could get written up for exceeding that. So we would have a discussion in the spring about what to do with the surplus, which could be moving it into a facilities fund or the road fund.
Road fund, I saw a big smile come up on Van's face. Yes, that sounds great. Thank you.
The only
We
thing
hope we need to have that conversation.
Great conversation to have.
say, Kristen, I just want to say you do such a fabulous work. This is the thing that most people don't enjoy going through this, but you make it a very enjoyable experience. So thank you for making it both clear and then also just a very concise, but in a way that we can go through it quickly and not have to have too much discussion about the things. You're just very good at making sure we see what we're supposed to be seeing. Thanks for all you do.
Okay, do we need a motion?
Do we need to ask the public?
Oh, we need that at public hearing.
Any public comment? Say something, say, it's good, that's good. Okay,
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
thank you, Van. Is there a second? Mike,
Cut him off.
all in favor?
Mayor, I'll move to approve Resolution 2019-19-R, amending the fiscal year 2022 Lindon City budget as presented. Did you need, and that change that you mentioned right at the very beginning? Was there a change at the very beginning?
Just making a
As
note.
presented.
Yeah.
Motion by Jake, second by Van, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously, now we,
Before we leave that, Heath, on the noise at pickleball courts, we talked a little bit about trees. Are we looking to do anything with trees? Is that still kind of in the works?
Oh, absolutely. We planted 15 Fat Boy spruce trees last year. We're gonna put some in and around as they fill to try to get that south side a little bit more covered.
That's the sound absorbing trees, right?
Well, they named them Fat Boy just after me, so I hope that they can stand together. And as they grow, they'll overlap, so yes, the answer
So
is
Van, at the
yes.
last city council, I reported attending the tree board meeting, and the arborists selected different strategic places like the west side of the pavilion and just some different places there to provide shade and enjoyment for people that are using, different parts of the park, but also for sound. So they picked out those spots and discussed.
So we'll go on the north side, the west side, and the south side. The east side, parents would like to be able to see the playground and the parking lot, so it won't be a complete capture. And the fence is a little short, but the acoustic block people say that there'll be a measurable difference.
How high are you planning to have that installation? Because some cities have, like a 15 foot. Do you know what height?
They're 6-foot fences on the side of the pickleball courts, and then 10-footers. We'll have 10-foot and 6-foot. We'll cover
Okay.
all the chain link on the outside,
Okay.
on both sides.
Are we doing the tennis court as well?
Yep, they said the best option you can do is try to capture the sound inside. Although there's nobody on that west side, it can just echo and reverberate if we don't. So that we were thinking we'd just close it up the best we could.
Did they give an estimate on how many decibels reduction would be?
He claims under 10,
Oh.
but 10 is significant. If you look at the decibel lead numbers, and he's,
Three doubles the
yeah,
noise,
he's the
doesn't it?
engineer and he owns it and operates it. He says that there's a lot of controversy about this too, council. Just so you know, the Orem people, when they put it in over here, they're quoted in the newspaper saying, well, it doesn't really help. And that was damaging to their business, but the Alpine people think it's the best thing since jam on toast. They really love it. So there is, if you're thinking about we're gonna close the clunk, clunk, clunk off, we're not. But we're gonna
Reduce.
significantly, I hope, reduce the sound.
Orem installed some of this not far over on Bonneville Park,
Exactly.
just this way, just off of 1600, and they've got homes that are their backyards are right against the fencing. You can walk around it in take a listen if you're
I walked
interested.
there
so.
a couple
I was
weeks
just
ago,
there today.
and it was greatly minimized. It was, like you said, not to zero, but it was a lot less. As far as the trees, one of the things, that the funds are already there to purchase them, but the question was, would the nurseries have quality stock this time of year to get the quality of specimens that they would want to plant? So Heath and his team will be working on that, and planting could be, they said, fall or spring, depending on the stock.
We've been looking at stock, and we're really ending up with the bottom of the barrel. We're a little leery. We may get some this fall, but for sure, we're making orders for spring.
Do they guarantee them?
Some will, yeah,
Or some portion.
they'll
some portion
give
prorated
us
or
a
whatever.
deal on it if it fails.
Heath, can I ask, do we have is our shut-off time consistent year-round, or do we have a reduced time slot for closing the pickleball courts in the wintertime?
We don't.
Okay.
We don't. It's 10 o'clock, hard 10 o'clock.
I just know that there's a perception that it seems like they're going later than they actually are, just because of I'm just wondering if there's any thoughts about maybe adjusting that for our winter months I mean, they're not, obviously the snow would keep them out, but I know I can hear them from my house I'm 136 south, and I can hear them clear up on 400 north, so.
I haven't really considered that. I did for a little while at a request of a couple of residents to stop it at 9. I've done some mitigation, and the neighbor at Creekside said that what we put up there, and that was just rubber matting, and
Okay.
rubber matting. She said, well, that makes a difference. She appreciated it. So I think this will get us hopefully where we need to be.
Just a thought with the time change. Thank you.
Yeah, when you said fat boy trees, I thought, oh, that'll be fun.
Ice cream
Sounds
trees?
like
The harvest of those, get the grandkids over there with the families that are concerned about the sound. We'll have the little kids in our favor. They'll be working for us. So.
Heath, could you tell just a quick, what is your estimate on timeline for the acoustic block to get in and be able to install?
He said he was behind, but they're a manufacturer, so he did not give me a timeline. When I give him the go,
Anyone to give you a time
I think
release.
they'll really snap to, and I'm hoping that it's in before the snow flies here. But I'm not gonna make a promise.
No promises.
He
Supply
was not
chain.
willing to promise me.
Okay, great. Thank you so
If
much.
it's snow, then nobody will play it.
Okay, so we need to go into the redevelopment. Go ahead, Randy.
I move to recess the Lindon City Council meeting and convene the Lindon City RDA.
Second.
We have a motion by Randy, second by Jake. All in favor?
Aye.
We are now we haven't changed seats, but we're in a different meeting.
They should make us change.
So basically, we have minutes that we have to approve? No?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
I had no changes.
I don't either.
I move that we approve the minutes from the June 26, 2021 meeting.
I think it was June 21st.
What
It
did I
says
say?
26
Says
on our thing.
26.
Is that a,
Might be, can you check that date, Kathy? In the minutes, you say 21st, but on the agenda, it's 26th.
Second the motion with the correct date.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, from Mike, and then Jake's the second with the correct date.
first? It says on the calendar.
So Kathy, just make sure it's the right date. I will. Please.
In my motion, whatever date it is.
Okay, all for the vote or approval of the minutes, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. That's all we had to do, right, in the RDA? We have to do the budget,
There.
the amended budget?
No, we have to do the.
So we didn't have any budget
Mentioned,
changes.
that's right.
We do have a public hearing for the 700 North CDA time extension,
That's right.
and Mike Florence is just gonna run us through this. So,
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing then.
Okay, we have
Do
a
we need-
motion,
Second.
second by Van, all in favor?
Aye.
Mike? We're going for a record tonight, so,
What's that?
we're going for the record tonight. It's the opening game of the Utah Jazz with the San Antonio Spurs. It's preseason. It's not a big deal.
Okay, thank you, board members. So This past legislative session, in a special session, the Utah legislature passed the Utah Community Reinvestment Agency Act, which this bill authorizes a community reinvestment agency such as the Lindon RDA to extend the collection of tax increment under certain circumstances due to COVID-19 emergency for an additional 2 years. So the 700 North CDA expires currently in 2037, and so this would allow us an additional 2 years to extend that CDA down there. So the COVID-19 emergency extension bill specifically authorizes the agency to extend the tax increment collection period in the impacted project area by up to 2 years if the agency determines the conditions resulting from the COVID-19 emergency will likely delay the agency's implementation of the plan or cause the agency to receive an amount of tax increment from the project area that is less than the amount of tax increment the agency expected they would receive from the project area. So just to go over that area, I think you're all familiar with it, but that's our 700 North CDA project area. And so the Lewis Young put a resolution and backup material for you together. They put a memorandum together that looked at different real estate reports on the office and retail industry specifically and how those were affected by COVID-19. They gave some specific statistics in those reports. There was reports by CBRE and Newmark Grubb. I think it was Newmark Grubb. It was Newmark and Knight. They changed names. So they went through those and gave you some backup material saying how there had been a decline due to COVID. And we all are aware of that. And we're still continuing to see that today with interest in our 700 North corridors. It has been delayed in that. So with that, Lewis Young has prepared a resolution for you to pass. This needs to be passed before December 1st to be able to take advantage of this 2-year extension for the CDA. So with that, I would be glad to answer any questions.
There isn't any reason why we wouldn't do it. I mean, it's
Pretty straightforward.
just,
Yeah.
so,
We just have to show that there was a delay.
study,
and
yeah,
Lewis
delay
Young
and
provided that.
justifies it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is pretty important for some of the strategic things we're hoping to accomplish there, so.
Okay, council.
I'm in favor.
Make a motion if you'd like, unless there's more discussion.
So we're in a public hearing, right?
Oh, sorry.
Public comment?
Sorry about that.
I mean, I go there, but I know I'm not getting anything, so. it's-
Justice from the government.
Okay, Randy, go ahead.
Well, I guess I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Have a motion by Randy, second by Van, all in favor?
Aye.
It was unanimous, thank you very much. Now,
I'll then move to approve the resolution 2021-5-RDA to extend the 700 North Community Development Project area an additional 2 years until 2039. And thank you to Robert, Lewis, Young, Robinson, and Birmingham for all their good work in putting this together, and Michael as well.
I'll second.
motion by Randy, second by Carolyn, all in favor?
Aye.
Passes once again unanimously. And item number 10, review and action.
We have to
Petition of
close the
relief.
RDA.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to make sure you get here, Mayor. You're
Yeah.
focused on
Second.
jazz.
I'll second that.
Motion by Carolyn, second by Mike to close and or go out of the RDA and come back into the real meeting, the other meeting.
The real.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we're back in city council. Review and action on item number 10, petition of relief for reduction in water shares, resolution 2021-20-R, basically allowing them to pay money instead of give shares. I think, is that right?
It's, yeah.
I'll go through that.
Go ahead, Mike, I'm trying to speed you up here.
They can pay as much
So the planning commission recently approved a subdivision for this property. You can see it up here on your screen. It's 4.47 acres. Then they also gave some exemptions to the hillside ordinance, so the property owners could build one single-family home up on the property. That single-family home's going where the baseball diamond was previously located in this area. So the planning commission for this application made a recommendation. This isn't showing up extremely well, but you can see the areas here, they're slightly red, but those areas have slopes greater than 40%. And that was surveyed for the hillside exemption that the planning commission reviewed. Part of that 40% is the recommendation that those areas not be irrigated. And so, the last thing we want is those to become saturated and come down on erode down onto the property that's being constructed. And so the applicants are requesting a relief petition from the Planning Commission and City Council. This Planning Commission gave a positive recommendation to the council to not require water shares be turned in for the areas highlighted in red here that have that 40% slope or greater. So those areas equal 1.74 acres. The total property area again is 4.47 acres, so they will be turning in water shares or paying the fee in lieu if approved by the council for the 2.73 acres on that. So with that, I would be glad to answer any questions also with the applicants.
Mike, I think it would be informative because it certainly was informative for me, but you mentioned in that meeting, the question was asked, how much are the water shares worth? What's the cost on the open market?
Yeah.
And I believe you said that we did what, 90% or 95% of what the broker,
yeah, so
the water broker sell it for. So maybe you could share that with us. That would be helpful.
Yeah, so when we take in water shares, it's on a per acre basis. So so a developer, if they're developing 1 acre, they're required to turn in 1 acre of North Union shares or equivalent shares or pay a fee in lieu. So for a 1 acre share right now that of North Union, that's going for approximately $21,000. And the city, if you pay a fee in lieu, we charge 95% of what the brokers are charging at $21,000. So we charge $19,950 per share for the fee in lieu.
Before we go too much further, an advice of counsel, I think I'm okay, but I have to declare, as a potential subcontractor in the hardware world, I have to declare, I know it's only one home, there's a possibility we could do work on this project, maybe not, but we think we're okay, but I have to declare that.
I drove by it a couple days ago. The topography, it makes a lot of sense just to leave that natural as it is. I'm assuming the owner will do what they need to do to keep it, the ground secure, or plenty of vegetation there, and so seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I was up there today, and just the amount of slope that's on that, and the placement of the house and where new walls will go to secure stuff that's under 40% it's like basically stabilizing that whole area. Not that it wasn't already stable right now, but we won't be touching any of the stuff that's over 40%. But it's going to be an incredible property. Like it's really cool. I'm not an engineer. Do you have anything to?
I was just going to, so Jeremy Ackley, Todd Train with Millhaven, we represent the property owner. The only thing that I would just add is that, we have gone through the process of developing the lot and been asked not to put water up there. And so you have one code basically telling us not to water it, but then the other part of the code says that we need to dedicate water to water it. And so we're just asking for the relief due to that fact that we don't want to put water on it. We never should put water on it. And so we're just asking to dedicate the water that we will actually use for the property. So
if I understood the recommendation or the agreement that you reached is basically you're just going to leave that really sloped area as it is.
Correct.
You're not gonna do anything with it, so.
I think there's some deadfall on it that I think he's just gonna get in and clean that up, but leave all the existing vegetation as is and not put water up on it, so.
We would like all of our baseballs that you find back from 20 years ago.
By now.
They might be in a big pile of dirt. I don't know.
We are, but we may have put a few there.
The applicants in your packet also provided a landscape plan. You can see everything in red says that they are removing the dead plant materials. Mr. Train explained and everything else. And the remainder of that red will be all in natural vegetation.
Somewhat contiguous with the other natural, where you border, anyway, so.
Yeah, it looks like we'll
Seems
be,
very reasonable.
looks like we'll be redoing the asphalt that goes there, because the pump trucks and things like that have just
Beat it up a little bit.
Tracks going in.
destroyed it.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming here. I think we pride ourselves on being pretty common sense, pretty reasonable. It seems like every time you come in here with a request, they seem very reasonable, well thought out. We appreciate staff as well, being open-minded to these and finding common sense solutions, so I'm supportive.
Yeah, I think the ordinance was to make sure that typically land would have the proper irrigation, but this is not a typical topography, so it totally makes sense, common sense.
Absolutely.
Well, I'd love to make a motion, Mayor, if we're ready, council. I move to approve Resolution 2021-20-R to approve the request from Millhaven Construction for a petition of relief for providing the full amount of water shares or fee in lieu of shares for the property located at 578 North, 800 East, as presented.
Second.
Second by Jake. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. This is one of the easiest meetings we've ever had.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, staff.
I know.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Second.
hallelujah, we're done.
Check that.
Second, I'll second.
Mike?
I already seconded, but I'll give it to you.
I think Randy.
It's okay.
Okay. Dan and Randy, all in favor, aye. Here we go,
Aye.
we're done.
6:15.
So way to pack
One-
our agenda. Man, that was great.
That was 59 minutes. We even started.
told my wife it was gonna be a very short agenda,
Yes.
and she says, so it means 9 o'clock, right?
Yes, my wife, I'm like, I think we'll be
Say
done by
that.
7. She's like, no,
Yeah, I don't
no
think
way.
so.